Hey, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the channel. Tonight I'm going to be talking about Hawkeye. It's the new series on Disney Plus. I'll be going over episode 1 right now. I may make this a two-part review. I didn't really want to. I'd rather just do both episodes, but the more I started typing my notes, the more I had things to say about this first episode. So we'll see. I might do both. Regardless, this is a show about Hawkeye, and so right off the bat, I'll just say I'm not a fan of whatever phase Marvel is in right now. Disney is in like phase 4 or something like that. Ever since the Endgame, they haven't done anything worth a damn, like, for me, to interest me in anything that they're doing. I haven't seen. This is actually the first. This is the first show or movie that I've seen since Endgame. Actually, I think so. I can't think of another. I don't think there's been a movie I've seen since then. But the reason why is because nothing has interested me. Nothing. There's been I haven't seen any previews for any movies or shows that I've wanted to see. Now, the reason I'm even doing this one is because I now have a channel, and it's kind of what I do. I'm enjoying reviewing, giving my opinion and doing my reviews on shows and everything. And this is a popular show, so I thought, why the hell not? I'll sit down and check it out. I've watched extensive reviews on Loki, WandaVision. Was that the other one? The Winter Soldier and Falcon, or whatever the hell it was. And everything that I've seen regarding this reviews and the context of what happens in those shows, they sound pretty bad. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything. So when I went into this show, I thought, you know what? It's time for me to get in there and see if it's any good. If it's as bad as everyone says it is. And again, if you like the show, and if you liked Loki and WandaVision and all this shit, good for you. That's cool. I mean, I'm not here to say if you like something, your insert adjective or descriptor of you as a person. That's not really what I want to do. But boy, I got to say, I was not impressed with this show. So it starts off, and right out of the gate, it starts off. So this show is called Hawkeye. Now, through the trailers, we see this young woman. Her name's Kate Bishop. Now that I've seen, I know who she is. I thought this was a Hawkeye show. I didn't realize that this is the Kate Bishop show. That's what this is. And Hawkeye is just sort of helping her out. The show opens up with Kate as a child, and then there's no scene of Clint at all. It starts off with her, and she's in this really big, nice apartment in New York, and she hears her parents arguing, and she's over listening. She's listening in through the vents, and dad comes in, talks to her or whatever. And then, so she goes downstairs and she's talking with her mom. Her mom is played by, an actress that I do know. Her name is, Vera Farmiga. I've seen her in other movies, and I think she's a good actress, but man, I didn't like her in this one. It's just, I don't know. We'll get into that later. Regardless, she plays Eleanor Bishop. So then this big explosion happens, and there's all this stuff going on, the commotion outside, and it's when the first Avengers movie, the attack on New York, when Loki brought in a bunch of aliens through the portal, and it was the first like Avengers movie where they get together and they actually fight together as a team. And so she sees her dad's office gets blown up, kills her dad, and she sees Hawkeye. He's outside doing some cool shit, firing some arrows, and he shoots an arrow. So there's a little alien ship that's like flying towards her, like right at her, and he shoots an arrow at the back of it, blows it up, and for whatever reason, it doesn't, like, the fire, the rubble, anything that would be heading towards her just sort of fades away, and magically it doesn't touch her. So silly. But the other thing too, I thought the CGI was kind of cheesy. I don't know. There's a shot of Clint or Hawkeye running and jumping off of the building that he's on, and I thought it looked bad. So then mom gets her out, the scene ends, and then we're at dad's funeral, and it's mom and little Kate talking, and they don't seem too busted up. I mean, I don't know. That is just from my, like, she's crying, but it's not good. Like it just, I don't know. There's not a really, it's supposed to be like an emotional scene. It didn't have any weight with me. And her mom talks about protecting her. And then she says, oh, whatever you need, I want to get, I want you to have. And Kate says, I want a bow and arrow. I laughed out loud. Literally. I thought that was the stupidest shit. I've like, your father just died. And we see that her and her father are close. And in fact, her mother points out that dad is closer to Kate than mother is. Like she's the bad cop in the good cop, bad cop scenario. And that shit was hysterical. I mean, I was laughing, and I was watching this. I watch these shows with Normie wife, and she chuckled. Like we were both like, "What?" Like it was such an out of place line. I thought was dumb. So then we get into the opening credit scene. Again, it really just stands out. It's the opening credit scene for Hawkeye, and it's a montage, it is a animated montage of Kate Bishop being great, winning competitions with a bow and arrow and sword fencing, and I was like, what is going on? I did not know the show was going to be about Kate Bishop. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a Kate Bishop show. This is not about, so far what I've seen. I've watched both episodes that are streaming right now. It's not about really Clint at all. It's about her. And so then we cut to cut to Kate, and I think she's in college, and she shoots a bell tower. She's like, she loses a bet or something. She references why she's up on this roof, and she's shooting a bell tower with an arrow. And this is the first time that we see this actress, and I forgot to write her name down. Let me pull this up real quick. This is the first time we see her, and her name is Haley Steinfeld. I've never seen her. I don't recognize her from anything. She's pretty wooden. I didn't think that her humor and her jokes don't land. She's always kind of got the awkward look on her face, and I don't know. She doesn't really emote any sort of emotion that I can see. And her jokes are garbage. Like it was just not funny. Like they're really trying to make her like this witty woman. It's like, you're not. So, and again, I know humor's tough. So, it's, you may think it's funny. I don't know. I didn't think it was, but regardless, she shoots an arrow. She shoots a couple arrows, and she brings down the bell tower, which made zero sense. She shoots the rope that's hanging from the inside of the bell, the thing that actually rings the bell. I don't remember the names of I don't know what the official name is for it. But it brings down the entire bell tower for no freaking reason. It was the stupidest shit. She gets caught. She gets in trouble. Dumb. So then we finally cut to a scene where we see Clint, and he's watching a musical with his kids. He's in New York. And they're on Broadway, I think, whatever. I've never been to New York, but he's watching, but I know New York, well, at least they were famous for their musicals since 2020. There's been a lot of that shit going on. Regardless, he's watching, it's called Rogers, I believe is what the name of it was. And why is it not Captain America? Like, that's his name. Like, he's known as Captain America. He's not known as Rogers. So I just thought I don't know what's going on with that. I'm assuming because it's Disney and the way that they do shit, that it's some sort of, they didn't want America to be in the title or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. And Disney does crap like that. They do things where they don't want to be too pro-American. That's what we are, dude. It's America. So whatever. I thought it was kind of weird. And then we see then in the musical, I actually kind of liked the musical in the sense that it was funny. It was very overdone and cheesy, and it was something to like. I was grinning when I was watching. I was like, oh, this is terrible. But he sees Natasha's character, his sister Black Widow, and she's dead, obviously, and he kind of blanks out. And then we see his daughter starts calling his name or saying dad to him, and we see that he has hearing aids. And I mean, I don't know if that's a thing for Hawkeye. I don't know. Like I said, Normie here, I don't know if he has hearing issues and that it's going to lead to something. Maybe, I don't know. But they made a point, and they do it a couple times to point out that he has hearing aids. So then they have a stupid, uncomfortable bathroom scene where some guy's like asking him for a photo and shit, and it's like he's going to the bathroom. It was super uncomfortable and not funny. I think it was supposed to be funny, but I was just like, dude, weird. And then we see where are we at? Oh, so then Kate comes home. She's home from school, and I don't know why this is, but every time there is a woman who is, who is a formidable like fighter and someone who's kind of a badass, I don't like, she dresses like a bum. Like she wears like really baggy clothes. She looks kind of like frumpy, and I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It just didn't even, it's kind of like weird. And then she walks in and she's like super rich. Her house is, or the apartment that her mom lives in that she grew up in, it's, millions of dollars. So I don't know. I just thought it was weird. It's like one of those, I think they're trying to do the story of like, she's rich, but she still is just normal. She's just down to earth. It's like, no, you're not. You're a millionaire. You're not down to earth. You're not like the rest of us. So knock that shit off. And then she gets in trouble with her mom. They have a little back and forth in regards to her bringing down the bell tower with a freaking arrow, which was so stupid. And then mom takes away her credit cards and cancels her bank account or closes her bank account or whatever. And says she's going to teach her a lesson. And then we meet Jack. He is actually, I've seen this guy before. His name's Tony Dalton. He plays the show that I know him from, or the only thing I've seen him in is Better Call Saul. I think it was Better Call Saul. Yes, that's what it was. And he was great. He was really great in that movie or in that show. In this show, he's kind of the same. He has a really cool, I don't know. He's got like a really big smile, and they really use that. Like he smiles a lot. I don't necessarily like him in this show because he's kind of I don't know. He's kind of goofy, like, and not in a good way. He's kind of like I don't know. They kind of like he's overacting like the good stepdad type of character. So I don't know. And Kate doesn't like him. She says some unfunny jokes. And that's another thing too, is they try really hard to make Kate Bishop be this like funny, likable person. And it's just, none of it landed. Like the whole time that I was watching the show, I was just stone faced, like waiting for the show to kick off. Because as this show is going, like the pacing's kind of weird and it doesn't really flow, and it's boring. Like I was very bored. So anyways, oh, so then we see Clint's family, and him and his kids are hanging out again. And then we see, so when her mom and her were arguing about her getting in trouble for the bell tower incident, her mom says, do me a favor, put on the pretty red dress so we can go to this fundraiser thing. And then, we cut to the fundraiser, and of course, Kate has to wear a tuxedo. And it's just like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know why this is a thing, but Hollywood has this idea, and especially Disney, they have this idea that women can't, if you don't dress like masculine, then you can't be masculine. Like she can't be pretty, she can't wear a dress. Her hair is kind of like not put together. She's wearing, a full on like dude's like tuxedo, and she's wearing like boots, like really big, like goofy looking boots. And the way she even walks kind of awkward. It's like she's forcing this walk to look studly or some shit. And it just like, I'm like, man, I miss the days when women could just be women, where they don't have to act and dress like a male to come across as, just formidable and powerful. It's just weird. And it's like, it gives off this total like tomboy thing. And I don't know. It was one of those things that as soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, of course she has to wear a tuxedo. She can't wear a dress. We can't have that. So she talks to, let's see, where were we? I'm sorry. Oh, so that's where we were. So she meets a guy. His name's Armand the Third. He's an older guy, and I believe he's related to Jack in some way. I think he's like his uncle or some shit. And it's weird because Kate and Armand are talking, and we can see Eleanor and Jack across the room, and like Armand is like talking shit on Kate's mom to Kate, and he's like making these little jabs at her, and it's like, what a dick, it's like he was just being kind of a jerk about it. And of course, Kate's like, her reaction, I don't know. It kind of was like, she didn't really say much to him about it, but he's being a jerk. And so I don't know, I thought it was kind of and it was a weird thing, like the way he even acted about it, the things that he was saying. And Kate doesn't have any screen presence. It's, I don't know. She just she just seems awkward in all of the scenes. So then she goes outside, and I don't know what's going on with this, but she sees a one-eyed dog, adorable, cute puppy. As soon as I saw him, that type of shit. That's like cheap. That's a cheap. Uh, that's a cheap win for me. It's a cheap victory because I love dogs. So I have a dog myself, and when I see dog, especially with the one eye, it's like, oh man, you kind of feel bad for the dog. But she stumbles across this dog, and then he takes off, and then she goes back inside, and it's like, this is when things really started to irritate me. This is when this episode was like, I was like, what is going on? Everything that starts to happen after this moment is just pure coincidence and luck. And even the tuxedo, there's the plot and the story is moving along, and it's all by just happenstance. Like, it's weird. And it's not good. So she sees Armand and his mother. She stumbles across them. It's like the classic where she's looking down the hall, the door is slightly ajar, and we can see Kate's mother and Armand arguing. And he's like talking shit to her, threatening her. And she's not really, and the mom, you can kind of tell, I think they're kind of setting her up as like a villain. I think that, I don't know if if she's like a character from the comics or something like that, but she really just blows him off. Like, he threatens her, and she's like total eye roll. She doesn't seem worried about it at all. So then she runs into her mom, and she's like, and just the way she delivers her line, was that guy threatening you? It was so wooden. And, her mom's like, don't worry about it. So then Kate follows Armand down through, the back halls of the building that they're in. And she goes through a kitchen, and of course she's wearing a tuxedo that all of the waitstaff are dressed like. So she blends right in. So that's her in. So again, just lucky that she just happened to wear that tuxedo. So she picks up a tray and follows him down into this it's like a wine cellar, and it's actually kind of a cool little setting, but it's some sort of secret auction, and they're auctioning off just like shit from like the Avengers and whatever. It's I don't know. I guess it's okay, but it's just basically a way to introduce Clint's or Hawkeye's Ronin suit and his sword. So after Natasha dies, he goes on like a warpath after the snap. Wait, was it? I'm sorry, I'm getting crossed up. Regardless, he was the Ronin for a while, and he was basically doling out like vigilante justice to like mafia families and just the underbelly of America. And he was straight up killing people. He was not, it wasn't like he was cuffing them up. He was slaying bad guys legitimately. So she comes into the room, and she blends in, and then we see Armand. He's in the crowd, or he's one of the people who's buying shit, and Jack joins him, and we see them talk, and again, more conversation, or he's talking shit on Eleanor again. And so then she gets caught, and there's like this supposed to be funny exchange where I don't know, it just didn't really work. And so the boss of the waitstaff, or whatever he is, he starts following her, and she starts, bobbing and weaving around the wine cellar to get away from him. And then she happens to stop at the perfect place where she looks into a room, and we see, and it's like no one else would see this, no one but her. Like there's a door with a window, and you can see lights on the inside as long as it's dark, and there's men in there up to no good. Like, you can tell they're like lurking, and they're doing some shit. She just happens to see that. Again, lucky. And then we see the Ronin sword and the suit. That's when they come out, and now they're in the auction. And Jack he's into swords, so he wants the sword, and he loses it to Armand in the bidding war. And then bomb goes off behind the auctioneer. I think that's his name. Anyways, it goes off. Bomb blows out the wall, and then all these guys come in, and they're looking for a watch. That's the only thing that we can hear them say. They're looking for a watch. Everything else is just a bonus. Just look for the watch. So Jack ends up with a sword. Lucky. He finds that sword, and then this was some shit right here. So Kate's she's on the ground, and the Ronin suit was inside of a box, and the box just happens to be right there. And when she looks over at it, it tips over and pops open, and the suit falls out. It is ridiculously convenient, and it's so annoying. That's the best you could do. That's the best way you could get Kate into the suit. Is it just falls out of a box in front of her at the right time at the right place? Ridiculously stupid. And so then she gets the suit on, and so the bad guys, I guess they're called the Tracksuit Mafia. They're kind of just goofy. They have accents. I don't know if they're like Russian or something like that, but they say bro a lot, and they're full grown men. Like, these aren't just little boys. These are full grown men, and she just kicks the shit out of all of them. And the fight choreography was terrible. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. I watched this episode twice. So what I do when I do these reviews on shows at home, at least, is I'll watch the episode cold. I don't listen to anybody else's reviews. I don't do any sort of, I might do a little research in terms of previews, like who's who, what's what, and let's see if I want to watch it. But so I'll watch the show just on my own, no notes, no nothing. And then I'll go back and watch the second time, and I'll sit here and I'll kind of type up some notes on things that I want to talk about, things that I point out or that I see, and I'll point out to you guys. Man, I watched it again, and this fight choreography was awful. The way the fighters are waiting for their cues to swing at her, it's ridiculous. It's so terrible, where you can see them holding their fist in the air while she does something, and then she turns around, and then they throw a punch, and she perfectly parries it and hits them. It's really bad. I mean, man, step up your game, man. Disney has all this money, and man, this fight choreography was just low tier, like just budget fight scene. And she just, the whole scene where she's fighting these guys, like, she can't lose. You know, she even when she's getting beat up, even when she's taking punches. Okay, so I'll just still say this: I have been in actual street fights, like fights where it's straight up fisticuffs. I'm not proud of it. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'm some tough guy who was raised on the mean streets of some city and I had to fight my way to the top. No, that's that. I'm a normal dude, but I have been in multiple street fights. The shit hurts. Okay, when you get punched by someone else's fist, and they're trying to like knock your head off, that shit hurts, and it jars you, your vision, your ears are ringing, your head, your adrenaline's pumping. But and then you got to do your thing. If you're in an actual confrontation where there's nothing you can do, but you have to fight your way out of it, you're going to either fight or flight. And I'm telling you, I understand that this is a show and it's Hollywood, and I understand the difference between real fights and choreography, but man, it's just so ridiculous to see. And she's not like a really short. She looks decently tall. I don't know. She's like 5'8", 5'10", maybe something like that. So she's not like she's this little tiny person, but she's thin. She's a very thin woman. And they're just laying into her, and she just brushes that shit off. She kind of, a couple of times, she's like, oh, you hear it, and they kind of manhandle a little bit, but she just shakes that shit off, man. It's like, it's just not realistic. Unless that suit has some sort of like armor that I don't know about, I don't know how the hell she's just taking these shots and walking through them. The other thing too is, like, these guys have guns, and it's so, I love it when shows do this, when you have your hero who doesn't have a gun, and their whole thing is hand-to-hand combat, and the bad guys have guns, and they fire guns until they get right next to them, and then they always wait a second. They always have to say something. They always have to do something. Give the hero just enough time to grab the gun or get away from it, and it just happens. It happens in this show, or yeah, in this fight scene. It was so just poor. It was just such a terrible fight scene. So anyways, she wins and she gets out. She has a suit and she runs away, and then she gets outside and she sees, so the one-eyed dog is out back of the building, and there's the tracksuit. One of the tracksuit guys is kicking the dog, which pissed me off. And she intervenes and kicks the dude in the face. Good for her. And so they both run away. And then we see Kate. We Ronin, or Kate in the Ronin suit, on the news, and Clint's with us. That cuts back to Clint and his family, and then she sees he sees them on the sees her on the news, and that sort of gets him involved into the story. Again, it's fortunate that he saw it then. It's just so lucky that the TV was on just at that time and his daughter was watching the news so that he could see this happening. Just so fortuitous. So let's see where we were at. We're almost done here. Okay, so then we see Kate drop the one-eyed dog off at her apartment, and she does like this weird. The show does this weird thing where she talks to the dog to tell us what she's thinking. So it's like this. It's a little cheat so she can give exposition to us of what's on her mind. I don't know. I was like, I thought it was very lazy. So then Kate breaks back into Armand's house, and the thing too that cracks me up is she's wearing the suit, and it's not like it fits her. Like it fits her just like it was tailored for her, And I just thought, I was like, God, just so lucky, and just falls out of it falls out of the box, falls right onto her body, and she is just ready to roll. It's just so amazing. So she breaks into Armand's house in the suit, and the suit also, just so you know, the suit does cover her face, so it's just her eyes. You can see it's got a hood. So you couldn't identify her. And so when she breaks into Armand's house, they do another thing that I don't like, when shows have to like make a point to show us something and it's very obvious. Like it's a blatant stop everything, show you something, so that later on when you see it, we can get that dun 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 moment. And it was so on the nose. They could have done it so much better, but no, she has to stop. She picks up a butterscotch. She's like, monogram butterscotches. And then she puts it back down. And it's like, okay, so I guess that's going to be a thing. And it is, which happens in the next episode. And so she comes across Armand, and he's dead. He's laying on the floor of a room. He's it looks like he's been stabbed, and there's blood everywhere. And she runs. And then she gets out of the house, and out of nowhere, again, another lucky break for the old tracksuit mafia, they just stumble across her in the middle of the street. We see her in the middle of the street, and all of a sudden she's surrounded by a tracksuit mafia. It's this type of stuff. Oh, sorry about that. My PlayStation controller. So it's just that it's another thing. Like I said, once it happens, once the lucky, just coincidental shit starts happening, it just never stops. And nothing. So many things could make this story just fall apart if just one thing, like they just happen to see her and happen to find her and surround her. And of course she kicks the shit out of them again. And I mean, back to just like regular fighting. Okay. When you're surrounded by multiple targets, they don't take their time. They don't take their turn. I mean, they don't wait. You go, then I'll go, then you go, then I'll go, then you go again, and then I'll go again. That's not how it works. That's not how it happens. And a good fight scene with good stuntmen and good fight choreographers, they can make it, they do a great job of showing how they all can attack at the same time. And, and the hero doesn't always get away. The hero doesn't just win. If it's good, it can be more realistic and believable. This just is not. It's not believable at all. These two fight scenes were just garbage, man. So she fights these guys and she wins, and then she gets away and she runs away and gets into a car. And the other thing too, and I really noticed it. So while she's inside the car, they break the window. They're going to drag her out. So then Clint shows up and saves her. Well, saves her. He doesn't really save her. She's inside of a car, and she's already won. She's already beat these guys up twice. So it was kind of a weird moment where she's inside the car. I was like, just keep running, just run away. Like she could have just kept running. There could be like a foot chase or something, but it was just weird. So Clint comes in and starts picking these guys off, and he's fighting them. That was really bad fight scene as well. It was so slow watching whoever, I don't know if that's really Jeremy Renner doing it, but they do a great job of making sure the camera is positioned just so you can't see his face. And they do that thing where it's like cut, where it's just, they cut so fast, so quick. And I don't know who the hell thinks that that's like a good idea for fight scenes, but it's not. It looks like trash because, and whenever I see that happen, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have a seizure. Like, just cut. The screen is just flashing from one side to the other side, to the under, to above, and you never actually see the hero fight, and, you know, at least go through a few swings and parries, kicks, grapples, something. And I thought this scene was probably the worst one. I thought Clint's fight scene with these guys was the worst. It was very short, but man, it was trash. So he gets her out of there, and then they take off, they run away, and they end up in an alley, and he pulls off her mask, and then he sees it's her, or he sees it's a woman, and then she's like, "Oh my God, you're Hawkeye," and then it cuts. And it's supposed to be this big reveal, but I don't know why they thought this was such a surprise, but I mean, when you see Ronan, even when you see her like on the news, when you see what Clint sees on the news, you can tell it's a woman. Like, you can tell. It's not like it's like, oh my God, that has to be a man. No, you can tell it's a woman. Like, she's figured, you know. I don't know. I thought it was dumb. Like, he's all surprised. So, all in all, I think this show is not worth your time. I don't think it is. And I don't think it respects my time. But for the sake of this channel, I'm going to continue reviewing it. This is the first show that I've watched where I'm like, this is going to be bad. Like, this is like, I'm going to have to get on here and just sort of tear this down. And I was like, I don't know. I've never really done that. I've never really just, you know, I don't want to come on here and just shit all over it, you know, without good reason, you know, and just say, I don't like it because I don't like Disney, or I don't like it because I don't like Marvel. Listen, those things are true, but listen, if it's a good show, I'll say it's a good show. This is not a good show. It's just not. It's not a good show. I didn't think it was good. So look out for my next episode. My next episode review. If you are inclined to watch this and you like it, good. I'm happy. If you think this is a great show, don't let me and my stupid opinion, you know, deter you in any way. This is just my thoughts. But I definitely don't think it's worth your time. So anyways, I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you for coming in and checking out my review and checking out the video. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up, because that's really all you can do anymore. And leave a comment. If you know, I want to know your thoughts. If you think it's great, tell me why, you know. Shoot me an email. If you want to, have some dialogue about this show, I'm all ears. I'm totally listening. I would love to talk to someone who loves the show, and I want to know why. Like, I would love to have that conversation. But yeah, if you like the video, share it with your friends. Other than that, have a great night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.